One of the times the media ministry really impacted my life was right after I graduated law school. Back in 2012, I had taken the bar and gotten my first job down in the suburbs of New York City. I had finished working one night in November of 2012 and needed to finish clearing out my old apartment. I had driven up after work one night. About 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, was heading back down toward my new apartment when out of nowhere I hit a giant deer at full interstate speed. The airbags deployed in the car, so really couldn't see out of the car as I'm going at this point 70 miles an hour down the road, which turns out didn't make a big difference anyway because the bolts that held the hood of the car down broke when I hit the deer, so the hood wrapped up over the windshield. So I was trying my best to keep control of the car and work my way off to the side of the road and without being able to see anything. And by the grace of God, I was completely unscratched from the whole experience, shaken but unscratched. By the time I worked my way home through riding with the tow truck driver to calling on a friend of mine in Washington, D.C. to call his mom, who lived about an hour and a half from where I was, to finally get me home, it was probably 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when I got home. So I got up the next morning. Something like that is certainly not an excuse to not go to work the next day. So I called the cab. I called a taxi to take me over to work. And the cab driver pulled up. It was a minivan, I remember distinctly. And the guy had his smartphone, iPhone, whatever it was, kind of taped to his steering wheel because cab drivers are professionals. That's perfectly okay when you're a cab driver. When I got in and I realized he was playing the video or streaming the audio of Dr. Ron. That was certainly an incredible moment to know that even in the midst of hitting a deer in the middle of nowhere, being thousands of miles from home, God has a way of just reminding you that He's there. And growing up in a church like Abba's house, obviously there was a large focus and continues to be a large focus on our media ministry and how that really impacts lives. I never saw the direct impact on our people, our members, other than maybe people that needed to be home for health reasons, or perhaps you're traveling and stream the service through the app or something like that. I never saw benefit to our people other than that until that day. You always think about the media ministry helping other people. You hear about it being on in New York or being online or all over the world, and you always think, well, that's for other people. I certainly never expected to just boomerang around and smack me in the face like that, but that was quite a moment.